All right, today I'm going to go through books that I've read recently, ones that I'm currently reading, what they're about, and what I'm reading next. So the book that kind of started it all off, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. This one is great if you're trying to run a business, grow a business, buy back your time. Essentially, I think it really applies to people who are trying to scale or get bigger or are already big. Because if you calculate your buyback rate, which is in this book, and there's a bunch of great content in here that you can apply to your life, to your business, you might find, in my case, your buyback rate is very low, and so it's hard to outsource. That's the premise of it, is that you want to figure out what takes up your time that doesn't give you energy. Find other people who already like doing those things or are very capable and more capable than you are, and pay them to do it and offload your schedule so you can focus on things that give you energy, make you money, keep moving forward, just keep doing that. So I think the whole process is called audit, transfer, fill. Audit your time, your schedule, your life, your business. You transfer those tasks off to somebody else. Various techniques in here about doing that. It's a great way to do it. And then you fill back your time in with good things. That one, I should have probably gotten a place to put my books. The next one that I read, so I read that one probably 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half, and then I just started reading books. I just bought a bunch of books. Target had a great sale. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Classic, Dale Carnegie, also not his last name, prior to speaking at Carnegie Hall. That's why he has the same last name as Andrew Carnegie. They're not related. Fun little fact there. This was a lot of fun, a blast to read through. It's pretty much just stories that how people work, and how to relate with them, things that people want, how to work with them. It's great stuff. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite. I'm going to go back and read this one again. This one, very highly rated, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. This is, or Covey, I don't remember how people say it. This was a little bit of a slog to get through just because it kind of beats the horse to like beyond death on some of the principles. It just goes into painstaking detail on some of the principles. I think it could be summarized a little bit better, but the principles nonetheless are excellent. You should be applying these to your life. Things that I'm working on, and we'll talk about that at the end. So after I finally got through that one took a little bit. I read the How to Win Friends and Influence People in just a few hours over the weekend. It was really great. The other one took me like a week and a half. Buy Back Your Time I did in a week. That was fun, which finally opened me up to reading Rocket Fuel, which is by Gino Wickman and Mark Winters. This one is about how to boost your company. If you're going to continue to grow, you need an integrator and a visionary, depending on what you are. Obviously, there's lots of other roles in a company that don't fit those particular ones. You have your managers and other people who do stuff. But I definitively fall under visionary. You could take a little test in here, figure out if you're a visionary, figure out if you're an integrator. If you're one of those things, great book. Particularly for the visionary, finding a great integrator, which I think I have one. We're working on trying to figure out our exact roles, but this book, definite read this one. The fun part about reading all the books is seeing how they're all connected and how they played off of each other. Not necessarily like the newer ones, because obviously they're playing off the older ones playing off other books. Those are great to see the references back and forth. Here's another one that references other ones, and you see the same principles show up. Main Street Millionaire. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of glare there. Main Street Millionaire by Codie Sanchez. She's the queen of buying businesses. It's all about saving saving America by buying small businesses as the populace ages. Lots of people will just give up and close down their business. It's no longer around anymore. And so rather than that happen and see a Great Depression in America as all these necessary businesses fall apart and go away, Codie shows you ways to buy those businesses with, the right skills, putting together the right team. I'm almost done this one. You can see a bookmark in there. It's taken me a little longer to read this one because it's not really within my scope. I'm going to buy businesses. I plan to do it, but it's not like the exact premise of what I'm trying to do. That's the hardest part about reading some of these things. Buy back your time and figure out what makes you money. That applies to most people, I think, and it should apply to myself, but basically where I'm at, what we're trying to do, it's very hard to define what actually makes us money because a lot of our stuff is related to real estate, and it's not so much as go find a house to flip, which in and of itself is fairly difficult. It takes a lot of time to find those because we have a whole acquisitions arm working on that all the time. Shout out to Caleb because he does a great job, and Andres. And so for us to calculate, or for myself to calculate what makes me money in that particular venue of what we're doing with our small town, it's pretty difficult. I know what will make us money, but not a specific, like, make this product, sell this service. You get money at that point. It's a little harder to do that. One that I just started reading, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a classic. Pretty much everyone references this one. It references tons of people. This guy, Napoleon Hill, met with Andrew Carnegie, and he said, go interview 500 millionaires and figure out what you can pass down to anybody to make them extremely wealthy or rich and successful in their life. I just started the foreword, finished that, about to start chapter 1. We're going to see where this leads, but I guess this is the one that kind of, built a lot of other things, because he was born in the 1800s. Obviously, there's stuff written before then, but this one is so far, it's been enjoyable. I love the ones that give you stories. You're going through a book. That's all. It's a nonfiction book, and there's all these principles or things that you need to do, and that's great. But when you get a story, you know what I'm talking about? Like when the preacher's preaching, you're getting through the passage and the details, and then suddenly it's story time. You just like perk up, and that happens every time in any of these books. I love it when people tell stories. It really teaches. This one I have not read, but it was on the list. I think of Dan Martell. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I think it's Eker. I don't know. I haven't read this one. I'm looking forward to reading it. It should be very exciting. There's quite a few other books on my list that I need to get to. But right now, my plan is to probably read Think and Grow Rich. I have a conference this weekend, so I can't get through it in the next few days before we go to that, which we should be learning a lot of interesting things. Myself and my integrator will be going to a tax-free wealth conference, and I'm very excited about that. We were in Atlanta last week for Aspire, and it's kind of playing off of that. Going back to Aspire in Charlotte, it's just exciting to be around that kind of energy, especially getting around things that kind of upend things that are true, and it kind of upends the way you're processing, the way you're moving forward in your business. I love learning those things and finding good people. So things that I have applied and am applying from this stack of books so far that I basically read. I just haven't finished this one. Main Street Millionaire, going back to this one, great book. Love the process. If I was buying businesses, this is the book to do it. She'll walk you through everything. Just, you can even join her group and they'll help you criticize and critique and all the things that you need. Go do this one. I'm going to be applying these principles later when we look at some businesses. I have a few in mind, like laundromat and things like that are part of our project. The nice part about reading a book, so one thing I will say, here's a little tip, is just read the book. Just read through the whole book. Don't go through and apply all the stuff and try to do the things and stuff like that right then. If you read the whole book, then now when it's time to go do things, you can go back and be like, I know where the stuff is in the book, and open right there and go right to the content that you need and apply it right then. That is a little secret that I've been doing. Rocket Fuel, I am starting to do this, laying out the vision, the core focus of our company and what we're trying to do. Same thing in Main Street Millionaire. They talk about tracking a KPI that pushes your company forward, finding your North Star, and kind of the same thing in here, figuring out what your core values and focus are. I'm doing those things since I already know I'm a visionary. I don't have to figure that part out too much. 7 Habits. I'm working on this in relation to buy back your time, is setting up blocking time and batching processes, just really getting into what things I need to do on a consistent basis. So something that I'm doing now is I'm working out in the morning. Don't particularly enjoy it, especially when you start working out. It's painful. It's no fun. And so now I'm doing that. I'm trying to wake up earlier. I'm trying to have a process. I especially watch a lot of Dan Martell stuff on YouTube and on Instagram because he's obviously very influential, very successful. He knows where he's going, what he's doing, and there's some aspects of that I like to take. So waking up earlier, working out. These are kind of things in there where they're talking about, like, focusing on the last principle, which is sharpen the saw. You need to be focusing on your mind, body, spirit, improving yourself, becoming a more effective tool in what you're trying to do. There's quite a bit of other good content that I need to go back to the beginning of the book and read through the first few principles. You're supposed to do them in order, but I just kind of do everything however I want. So this one, I'm just going to go read back through this. It's always handy to know how to relate to people, to understand them, to have empathy, to, you have to be careful too. Cause I think if somebody read this, like if you're, a narcissist, sociopath type of person, you could just like, oh, well, now I can figure out how people tick and then just use them. And you don't want to be doing that. Like, obviously, this could be a tool, a dangerous tool in the hands of the wrong person. I don't think most people can do that anyways, because you can kind of tell when people are untruthful. But then again, there are very good deceivers out there. But I think going back to this and just figuring out the way I think that other people work and what they're looking for, and the same thing for yourself. You may read this and say, oh yeah, like that, I understand that because I work that way. It's basically just a relational book, and it's great. Buy back your time. So I'm in the middle of the audit transfer fill. The multiple weeks, I'm just really bad at writing down everything I do every 15 minutes. I'm getting through there. I realized the things that I write down the most are emails and banking. I just write that down because when you're auditing here's what you do. You print out these sheets, or you do it however you want, and you mark down what you're doing every 15 minutes during your workday, and you then go back and you highlight the ones in green that gave you energy, and then you highlight them in red if they didn't give you energy or they took it away, and then you put a dollar sign like if this is making you money. I found that like most of my stuff doesn't make me a lot of money, or directly it's really hard for me to gauge that it will make me money or it should make me money. But then, in real estate, you could talk to a seller a bunch of times and think they're going to sell, or you could talk to them once and didn't expect them to sell and they will. It's hard to control that process, but I think you could probably go back to KPIs, key performance indicators, and say how many people I'm reaching out to and what's the success rate there. It'd probably be a better way to do it. We're going to apply those with our acquisitions team. But I'm in the middle of that, trying to log down about 2 weeks worth of what I do. And like I said, banking, emails. So I spend a lot of time just like, what is it? Like, oh, I think I hear somebody. Oh, it's just a bird. So I spent a lot of time going through my emails and having to communicate with people. Like last night, I had somebody reach out to me about a bill that they received that they don't think they should pay for some property that we own now. And so now I have this issue that is on their plate that's now on my plate. And now I got to go make phone calls, handle email, go to the bank, things like that. That doesn't give me energy. I have set up a lot of email filters in regards to our accounting process and how things are sorted. It was just a terrible process before, setting up processes in place. But the biggest thing in this is he talks about having executive assistant. If you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. You're doing all those tasks, and you know what I'm talking about. If you're an entrepreneur, or like you're a small business owner, you find yourself driving around all day on phone calls, handling emails that don't move you forward. They're necessary things to get done. I have a picture of my license on hand in my phone and on my computer all the time because I get all these requests for copies of it for like banking reasons or other, mortgage loan applications, other things. And all of those little things that it takes time from my day to continually be handling small correspondence and stuff like that, or trying to figure out this issue, waiting on hold and things. Trying to figure out how to offload some of that because other people want a job. You can employ other people. That's a big thing, is giving other people the opportunity to have employment. Going back to that, anyways, I'm in the middle of that 2-week audit, and I'm just kind of all over the place talking about what I'm talking about. Started with books, now we're talking about what we're learning from it. So I'm trying to write down, figure out what I need to transfer off, and some of the stuff I have transferred off, but I'm still handling all the communication. So when our Airbnb needed the leaves blown, now I finally transferred that off to my cleaner. I gave them the right tools and supplies that they need. Then some of the handyman stuff, I have a handyman who can handle things. I probably need to integrate those two things together, so I'm not handling the communication. I still handle all the payments and stuff like that. That'll be something in our company we all realize is kind of a missing hole. A big CFO kind of role, somebody to handle paying people and all that stuff. There's a lot of things that I do, like today. So let's look at today, for example. I'm already bad at writing down the 15 minutes. I wrote down, I worked out, I read. Now I'm doing this video. I'm going to try to get up a little bit of content. I have to go to an appliance store to get some appliances ordered for our flip house. Hopefully they'll be there tomorrow. They'll install them so we can put it on the market next week. So that's going to take me, 10 minutes to drive over there, 20 minutes to, I already know which ones we want. 20 minutes, select everything out, sign their paper, maybe a little bit longer, then 10 minutes to drive back to the office. Then we're supposed to shoot another podcast. Just a video thing where we're trying to make some more content with Andres and Caleb. And then I don't remember what I have. I have a bunch of other like random things, and then a meeting later this evening. And so throughout the day, I do have to stick in all these other things, like handling that guy who has the billing request. There was paying some people. I'd have to look at my, I don't know, my reminders app is over there, but there's a bunch of like random other things I have to stick in there. And then I have to sit down, read, and think through how are we moving the company forward. I'm not doing a lot of flips. We have our STRs. I need to, consolidate the process. I do have more banking stuff to do and email stuff. My inbox is full, and I should find an executive assistant if I could afford them. And so getting to the point where you can pay somebody else to do that stuff, it's kind of a cart before the horse. I find myself having to pay for things now that give me more time to figure out how to grow and go further before I can technically afford them. Like, you have reserves and things to get you through the next few months, or you should. That's what we're kind of relying on is, hey, if we pay these people and we offset this time, now I can be more effective with the time that I have now to grow, and then we can continue to do that audit, transfer, fill. Anyways, that's where we're at. I've read all these books. I got a bunch more. If you have any books that you recommend, I'm going to go back through. Anyways, this is the Commons where I'm shooting at, Taylor's Commons. We're doing something called the Taylor's Creative Collective. This will be a business coaching, mentorship, not particularly just by myself or anything. I have other people who are more successful than myself who are going to be leading it, but we're going to be bringing networking events, special speakers, and we'll have a podcast studio actually in this space, I believe, is where we're going to be setting it up. We'll have a meeting room. There's coffee in the back. You and your significant other can use the space anytime to work from. There's fast internet, and we're just going to be putting together a pool of like-minded and high-level individuals in our area who want to learn and grow and do better in their business. Our niche really is going to be real estate. We're going to focus on doing that kind of stuff, but we're happy to help out in other business things because we all do a little bit of everything within our group, and we have a good team, solid team of people. We'd like to train and offer marketing services at some point as well. But that's all I have for today.